everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I am really excited to get to come on. I have a special guest who's going to be joining me today. A very exciting new channel. Actually, I'm not sure if it's brand new. We'll get a little more information about the start of her channel, but I want to introduce Anna, Aries
Hello.
Moon Girl. Hi, Anna.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. And you are in the UK.
Yes, I am in the UK now. I'm actually Romanian, but I live in the UK now for 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, anything
I'm in
goes.
Oxford right now. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Well, this morning I was going through Facebook and your new page came up. In fact, if you guys want to find her on Facebook, she has a new Facebook page, Aries Moon Girl, and you had a very interesting video. It caught my attention right away. And I was so excited as I was listening to you take on a pretty heavy topic. I think that a lot of us have these internal questions, so we're going to talk about that today. And what is the title of that video? How did you title that video?
Let me think about it. It was Law of Attraction versus Astrology.
Yes.
I might have said a bit more in the title. I don't remember, but basically this was the topic that I felt I needed to talk about. And just this morning I was thinking, this morning actually for me it was already evening, I was thinking I need to repost this because I think more people need to see it and hear it, and luckily enough, yeah, you heard it.
I did, and I thought you did a great job and brought up some great points. In fact, I will be putting that video in the link below too, so you guys can take a look at that. But I thought it was a really great topic because I think that it is one of the questions we have, especially the deeper you get into astrology and you begin to see these patterns and these cycles, and you have that question sometime like, are we just all pawns on a chessboard, or do we really have a sense of free will? How can we use astrology for today? Because I think when we look back at ancient history, astrology, just like anything, had a different focus. How do we use astrology for today? And can we influence our life path? Can we influence it? Or are we destined to, how strict down this path are we on? And I think a lot of people ask those questions. So you were sharing some really good points about it in your video. So,
yeah. Because I was thinking about it also myself, because recently I started hearing a lot about the law of attraction again, and I was thinking, okay, I'm making astrology videos, but I'm listening to a lot of content about the law of attraction, and I don't know if you know Abraham Hicks,
yes.
Esther
Yes.
Hicks, and I was like, yeah. How does this all fit together? And then I went back to started doing astrology, and partly also why I call myself Aries Moon Girl, and how I see astrology to be useful in my life and in the life of the people I want to influence. And I was thinking this for me, it's the two concepts fit together. I don't think it fits for everyone that believes in astrology. So that's why I wanted to do the topic, because many times I see astrologers predict, or people that refer to their own placements as a death sentence almost. Yes, but I have Saturn there, or I have Lilith there, and
yes, and it could become almost an excuse to why, well, like I think you said in your video, why we can't do this, because I have these placements, so I'm bound to them. And I think that really does limit us.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I did a little post the other day on my Facebook. I all this Aries energy, and both of us have a lot of Pisces in our chart, so we hold a lot in. And for me, when the Aries energy came through, it's just like things are flying out of my mouth that I can't even get back fast enough. It's very uncomfortable for me because I usually contemplate everything. You know, I have a lot of Libra in my chart too. There's no contemplation. It's gone. And it's like the damage is done and we're going to have to figure it out now. What do we do? And it was interesting because one of, you know, somebody had commented about, you know, not blaming the planets for our bad behavior. And I thought about it because it's like, no, I'm not blaming the planets for bad behavior, but at the same time, the energy, the storylines, the situations around us, you know, we're like riding this wave, trying to hang on to huge voltages of incredible energy and trying to maintain this, you know, everything we do, make the right decision. Sometimes things fall the way they fall and we can get caught up in them too. But knowing astrology allows me to go, oh, wow, okay, I'm not blaming it, but I can see why this may actually be really important that this does come out the way it needs to come out. Otherwise, I'd hold it in forever.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think I used the word wave also in my video, and this is how I best describe it as well. I don't know if it's a Pisces thing, but it's like knowing how to surf. If you know a bit of astrology, you know that the wave is coming, so you need to ride with it. If you're trying to go against it or under it, you're not going to get on top of it. So I think I totally agree with you. It's understanding the energy so you know how to master it.
Yes.
It will kill me. It's how do I go with the energy so that I get the best out of where I'm at now? What is my lesson for the moment? What do I need to learn now? And for you with a North Node in Aries, I think that's the right way to let it all out.
Well, and the universe has brought so many Aries around me and into my life, and so it's forced me, you know, to really have to learn this, how to handle this North Node Aries energy. And you know, your North Node is something, you know, you can spend a lifetime learning this new language, learning to understand the energy, and can still be really uncomfortable because, you know, so much of my chart, you know, tells me something completely different. And so by understanding who we are, and I like what you said in your video, it almost is kind of like a portfolio. You know, here's my resume. This is who I am. This is how I think. This is how I operate. You know, and being able to embrace those sides of us.
Yeah. It's understanding the energy within you. And making the most of it. And that's why when I was saying that I called myself Aries Moon Girl, although you've seen I have 12th house Sun, Mercury, rising in Pisces, all that Pisces energy, but then I have the first house with all this Aries energy and Aries Moon. And at that stage in my life where I posted my first video, so I'm in the UK. I'm actually still in a corporate London job, but I felt like now I'm living my Aries side. There's no behind the scenes. There's no hiding anything. I'm all out there and just fighting like a warrior. So that was my stage. Then I realized, okay, now I'm in my Aries energy, and it was good to understand that this is what I was tapping in.
Yeah.
Also, when I'm, I felt actually. Did you also feel kind of good throughout January when started and it was all that Pisces energy? I felt like, oh, finally I can calm down. And I'm like,
yes. And you know, it used to be, before I really understood astrology, and I think this happens to a lot of people, especially if you have a lot of water in your chart, when these things happen, you think, what's wrong with me? I don't want to be out there. You know, you start needing to rebalance yourself. And I used to think something was wrong with me, that I wasn't at this full level of performance all the time. And now I welcome retrogrades. I welcome, you know, this is like, I'm swimming in my ocean right now for the next 8 weeks. So I'm going down deep. And although in the end I was ready to come up for air, you know, but you got to come up slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. And I don't know if I was ready to come up, because I've been so much in my Aries energy that I was happy, but now I feel myself. I need to, it helps me to understand, okay, no, not the time for me to relax still. February won't be what January.
No, you're in it right now because you're having your Mars return.
Yeah, yeah.
And Venus return.
Yes.
And then next month you're going to have your Mercury return. So you're on fire. And, you know, I love Mars returns, although they always get me in trouble because I have Mars in Leo. Nobody can stand me after 8 weeks. And see, this is how I talk. You know, again, I think because I'm a storyteller and I'm a writer and I try to teach people about astrology. You know, talk about my Pisces moon, or thank you, Mars and Aries. I really blew it today. I try to show humanity, reality. But at the end of the day, a lot of that is just a way of communicating, helping people identify with that. And I laugh at it. You know, I had a last couple of days, a lot of intensity, and I thought, oh, my moon in Pisces is going to pay for it tomorrow. You know, it's a lingo that we do. I don't know if it's to entertain ourselves or to help us connect, but that doesn't mean that the moon in Pisces energy is going to dominate me. It means, uh-oh, I'm going to have to take care of myself tomorrow because I already know myself. I got myself a little overdrained. So tomorrow's going to be all about, you know, music and candles and a couple of hot baths, and boom, I'll be ready to go. So embracing who we are and laughing at it sometimes is such a freedom, I think.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think the most important part when you know astrology, to know what makes you feel good. So it's knowing yourself in a way.
Yeah.
When it becomes problematic, I think, is when you hang on to some of the placements, a broader negative story about your life. No,
Yeah.
but I will never find someone because I have Saturn in my 7th house.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, actually, this means that you will probably find someone long term, or you can build something stable.
Yes.
It's all how you tell your own story or the story of someone else. And that's how I intend, if I go down this path of astrology, that's how I intend to tell the story for someone else as well, tell the story of the potential.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also, with so much Aries, for me, everything is potential and growth. And and my husband gets a bit tired of me. He's a Cancer moon, so but he's a Sagittarius with Virgo rising.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But sometimes I do it, and I'm listening to growth or uh, self-development videos and things like that, and he's like, oh, all that Aries.
Well, you know, one thing I noticed about your chart that I think is what's really contributing to this, and I noticed this is for also a lot of YouTube astrologers that are out here now. I believe Alyssa Sharp, but you have Jupiter in Aquarius. You were born in that generation of Jupiter in Aquarius, and I always like to look at the degrees at 3.44 degrees. 4 is a very spiritual vibration. It opens up to a very spiritual vibration.
Please do tell me more, because I keep on seeing the number 4 now.
Yeah, you open, you know, one thing that's so beautiful about this energy in Aquarius is that it's an air sign, and so Aquarians get downloads. They know what's going to happen before what happens.
Yeah.
They have this ability to know the trends that are going to happen before they happen. And often it's like, well, I was going to do that, and somebody else gets it. You know, you probably have a lot of that. In your 12th house, which is you're a very psychic house, the wise soul, you hold the ancient secrets, you hold the ancient understanding. So you're kind of like Back to the Future. In fact, I think that movie came out in 1985, which is the year you were born. Back to the Future. It's you have this history in, you know, in your DNA of understanding all of humanity.
Well, now with Aquarius, because we're in Aquarius season, and the topic of Age of Aquarius, I told you I watched your video and then I had to do a video also on my own. I feel kind of, and with so many things going on in the world, in the US, in the UK, now also in Romania, my natal country, which is an Aquarius country, where everyone is now in a revolution. Again, I felt the need also yesterday. I feel these videos out to kind of push everyone towards not as bad as it seems.
Yes.
But we need to evolve our thinking for this age of Aquarius. I don't know if I get Aquarius totally, but I feel like, yes, we're there, but we need to understand what's happening to us. We're going to a next level of consciousness, but we need some changes in the way we think. And I think this topic with law of attraction is a good for the age of Aquarius, because I think it's pretty easy to live in the age of Pisces, maybe because I'm a Pisces.
Oh, I love it. Yes, no, we're very conditioned to the age of Pisces. In fact, you have Sun, Mercury, and your ascendant in Pisces.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. So you're kind of safe living in an age of Pisces, because someone will take care of you. Someone will be there, compassionate, to help you. I think that Aquarius is a bit more ruthless. It's a deeper compassion. It's more integrity. So everyone needs to find their integrity, and this is what's happening.
Yes. Well, you know, it's interesting, and this might be some good examples for you, because I noticed in your video, you had a couple of quotes in the beginning of your video. One was Albert Einstein, which you know is a Pisces.
Yeah.
I love that quote. I got to find. Do you remember what that quote was? It was so good. Do you have that?
Not off the top of my head.
But we're going to tell you guys that quote. Well, I'm going to look for it in a minute because it'll drive me crazy. But the other one, Abraham Hicks, who is a speaker of this age of Aquarius, has Mercury in Aquarius.
Yes, but she's also a Pisces, I think. No, I think so.
I don't remember, if to look at her again, but I remember specifically seeing that she had Mercury in Aquarius, which made sense to me. Oprah Winfrey is a lot of Aquarius.
Oprah brought me to all this.
And you know, if you think about Albert Einstein 100 years ago, everybody thought he was completely crazy. Okay, even Oprah Winfrey 20 years ago, when she was starting to talk about this, everybody, age of Pisces, went, oh my gosh, she's going new age, she's going off, she doesn't love Jesus anymore. You know, they've attacked her for years, but she keeps speaking the age of Aquarius, and Abraham Hicks is speaking the age of Aquarius. So it seems very alien to us right now.
Yeah.
But these people are leading the way to a language that we will all be speaking, and astrology is Aquarius.
Yeah, exactly. I will all be speaking that, and it will lead us to more equality in the world than we have now. It's shaking now. And for me, this Uranus in Aries in the fighting now. So everyone at an individual level is, okay, I'm taking my power back. This is my integrity. This is who I am. I'm taking my power. And this Aries is pushing the buttons to the maximum. So that's why we're shaking. So Aquarius, Uranus, Aries.
Oh, you hit it right on right there. You know, that Uranus and Aries has been life-changing. It's brought all the Aries to the front lines. You know, that's why I think you said all the Aries energy in you is so dominant right now.
Yeah.
You know, we're learning from people like you that really embody this energy. It may be overwhelming, but something we need to learn how to do, that it's not selfish to stand up for who you are. I think that's what's beautiful about astrology, is that for so long people would compare each other to each other's lives, and why did they get that, resent each other, and carry these really shame-based conversations towards each other. And with this Aries Aquarian energy, it's kind of like, hey, get on or get off and find out who you are. And, don't look at anybody else, because that's what they got. You didn't get it. So you better figure out what you got. It's like no more judgment. And now, like you said, it is equality, but it becomes more ruthless because everybody wants to be, the guru on the corner,
It becomes a lot more ruthless. Telling this to someone, I was like, Pisces wanted to be compassionate towards everyone and associate themselves with everyone and be there for everyone. Aquarius wants to be there only for those that are in the same mindset. So we're disassociating ourselves, and you'll see that what party are you from? So politics is extreme now, and I'm almost scared to go on Facebook because of who are you for? And people are becoming like enemies. This is the Aries energy, like you're an enemy now. You're not my friend anymore.
Yes.
And that's why I think we need a bit of a shift of mentality where we blank our minds of all this ego Aries energy at one point, and we realize that we're still made of the same stuff.
Yeah. But I think it's like so much of these issues have been buried so deep for generations to generations. I mean, my mother and I are having discussions. She's born in 1938, and seeing what she was raised with and her view on it. And I look at my children, and my son's 1989, and he's, it's like, oh my gosh, it's shocking, and I'm in the middle going, can't we just all like kumbaya a little bit, but it is about finding your tribe, knowing what you do actually believe, not what your mother told you to believe, not what your grandparents told you to believe, not what your church told you to believe. What do you actually believe?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that Pisces energy has a tendency to follow, be very fanatic. We like to just be led like little sheep, and get really excited about, a calling or a message. And that's where right now you have extremes of people following groups, and they're like, we don't really even know what we're fighting for, but we're fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's heavy right now. It's heavy.
Exactly, and all these ties are breaking now. So I see it mostly in my own country. It's like, okay, no, we're breaking this. We're pushing for it to break. And as you say, Pisces, on the one hand, kind of can put themselves into anyone else. So you can feel a bit of everyone else. So it's not hard to follow a movement. Plus, there is this mentality of either, and I was saying this in my Aquarius video, Age of Aquarius, it's either the savior or the victim, and this won't exist anymore.
Yes.
Everyone is their own savior. This is what's happening now. We're becoming our own saviors, and the compassion and savior victim mentality of Pisces, which might have not been the best part of the Pisces era, is kind of put behind. So
yeah, and it's interesting to me now, because if you look on YouTube and you see all of these different groups coming out about toxic relationships, religious conditionings, being in cults. I mean, there's documentaries, the truth that was really going on, being raised in these situations, and people are coming out and talking about it now, and it's freeing people. It's breaking that power of those old conditioned relationships, that victim savior whole thing isn't working anymore.
Yeah.
It's not working, and it's not working for us to blindly follow things anymore that we intuitively don't feel are right. Like, how many years did we have to, not listen to how we feel? That was repressed. And I think that's why we're having this Plutonic, with Pluto and Capricorn, I mean, this is a long transit of bringing all of this deep, dark conditioning to the surface. I do think we'll see a real positive change this year in a couple of things that are, I'm really watching. One, we've been through a Lilith and Scorpio transit the last 9 months.
Yeah.
And when that happens, that brings up these deep, dark fears, entities of all kinds come from the bottom. And we are literally today, I think we're like at the 29th degree, and just a little bit there, 29th degree. And when that happens, it's like the final chapter of this 9-month story.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like all hell is breaking free right now. It's been breaking free, but at the same time, the good news is Lilith will then move into Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Oh, we need a break from this water, from this Scorpio stuff we've had the last
We don't have too much now anyways. Now the energy seems to have shifted towards air and fire. It's a pretty...
Yeah, that's why I say Lilith in Scorpio is the last degree of this 9-month transit. So if you guys have been going through really intense relationship issues the last 9 months and really seeing into the underworld on things, the good news is, you're at the final chapter of that. Decisions are, still important to be made, but we're different people now. We can't continue to go back to those old patterns. The other thing I think will be very interesting, I believe May 8th or 11th, the North Node will move into Leo for 18.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think about that? That's going to really bring some fire into the arena.
Yeah, I'm a bit, so I'm a bit not scared. And now in the next couple of days, we're going to have a full moon in Leo. So I think some things that are triggered now will keep on reappearing throughout the year. So this Aquarius, Leo, I'm happy that at least from my side, my South Node, it will be out of Pisces.
Yes.
But this is, we'll see Leo and Aquarius again. So Aquarius doesn't give us a break. So
no, we are in this Aquarian story. And I think going back to what you said, astrology, versus this ability to manifest, I believe, like you said, both are true. Both can be blended. Because when you understand, astrology is like a map. It's an outline. It's a guideline. Things are going to have certain patterns, and you can prepare yourself for certain patterns in certain situations. But it's in your ability to stay centered and to believe how you want to see that outcome come out. By knowing the potential storyline, I think, at least for me, it gives me a better chance of actually being a part of that coming out in the best way, where I can rise above and I can make decisions. I think back to the years I had no astrological understanding, and I would just jump into the storm and hope it all turned out, and often get spit out and not know what happened for years and be left with no closure. Where now, even if I can't have closure in every situation, astrology gives me this understanding that this is the pattern. You're right on track. Some things will come back, so maybe you can revisit them, but just keep following it. And that's your responsibility. And how do you want to see the future play out for yourself?
Yeah, no, definitely. And also in the relation, because if we were to live, and this is where I come with the law of attraction, because if we were to live in an isolated cave and I would be only with myself, of course, those influences, I could master them even better, or just blind them out, and I think that's the thing we need to see, or how I see astrology is like your loud grandma comes to visit, and you cannot hide in your room. She will come and hug you, and let's say that that's I don't know, Mars or Uranus. So you need to interact with that energy because it's coming your way. If you were to absolutely want to, I think it's pretty hard to do, but I think what you can do is know that you also have your own inner force. That's what we shouldn't forget with astrology, that there's your inner power as well, and you are energy as planets are energy as well. And so you have a vibration on your own. You could decide to have a good day, contrary to the fact that from an astrological point of view, you have no reason to have one. So
right. No, that makes complete sense. That makes complete sense. Well, I think that the age of Aquarius, and again, this goes back to you having Jupiter in Aquarius, is about the internet. It is about this energetic connection.
yeah.
You know, sometimes I sit and watch videos and it's like, I feel like I know this person. I feel like this is my friend. Like we're not talking, but they're talking to me in such an intimate way when you're watching spiritual videos or different things like that, certain connections you have, the ability for that to happen through the airwaves is so amazing.
Yes, yes.
So,
and the knowledge, all the knowledge that you can draw in, it's incredible. And that everyone has a voice and you can draw and you build on ideas. I think we're a community here. That's also very Aquarian. I see your video, I get my idea. And
yes, we feed off each other. We help each other. That's why I wanted to have you come on, because part of what I really believe is that, especially with the astrology community, we are a tribe. We are the first runners to come out and even be testing and sharing these ideas as we're learning them, as we're experiencing them. You know, when you look at even the last 5 years of the different astrology videos, you know, it just shows the evolution of all of us, that we first came out and just talked about these crazy signs and the crazy zodiac and had fun with it. And then now we're getting like, oh, this is much deeper. This goes into generations and storylines. I'm doing, you know, I'm down back in history now, and it's like, wow. And it's a lifetime study, but I think it is that language that could really bond us all together.
It can bond us, and we're getting through where there are no answers. Like it kind of helps you get the answers, or know that there's a continuity to it and that there's a lesson in everything. I think that's a great thing about astrology. What's the lesson now? And you know, after this lesson there will come another lesson, but everything takes you further.
Yes. Yes. Well, I always, you know, anytime I share anything, people always tell me, you need to set boundaries. And it's like, right. Have you seen my chart? Pisces rising, moon in Pisces, Mercury, Venus, Libra. Yeah, I need to set boundaries like every day, for every day of my life. I will be working on that. It's not something I'm going to ever like master. It's going to be a challenge for me. But now I have finally come to an understanding why it's important, and that I'm worth it being important, because Pisces energy often doesn't put themselves first or in the mix. They actually feel more comfortable just being there for everybody else. But at the end of the day, they get lost, they get sick, they get in their own little tornadoes, just trying to recover from that process. I never understood I was doing that to myself all those years. I don't know how I did a lot of the things I did without giving myself those breaks. I would take them out of pure exhaustion. But now I've actually realized, for me to do what I do, I don't need to wait till I get completely exhausted. I can give myself permission to take care of that. And that's not selfish. And that's just something that was not conditioned in my mind. Every day it's like opening a Christmas present to me.
Yeah, exactly. And understanding why you do what you do. And I'm thinking, actually, I can ask you, because I was always thinking, I'm a bit fascinated with Pisces moon. I find it a better placement than Pisces sun.
I don't know about that.
Well, because I think it's great to have that wonderful world on the inside. It's pretty hard to have it on the outside and to dissolve yourself, and energy levels, it's not the highest. It's pretty hard to be an Aries moon on the inside, and on the outside to have a Pisces person.
That would be challenging. I think that would be challenging. I actually can see that being challenging. I mean, I have the Virgo Pisces opposition, but the Virgo can be a little shy too, so they can kind of work off each other. But the inside of you wanting to come out, it reminds me of kind of like a superhero, like the Invisible Woman, the Invisible Warrior. You know, you have this ability to become completely invisible and go through the doorways of anything you want to do. And yet, you know, this ability to be patient and wait and feel the timing, which Pisces is all about feeling the timing.
Yeah.
That's why we don't like clocks and we don't like calendars and stuff, because it's like, or deadlines, because no matter how hard we try to stay within that, it won't work, because there's an internal clock that says now. And people look at you and think, oh, you're not getting anything done, or you're lazy, or you're procrastinating. No, if you really get in timing with that internal clock, especially using your moon in Aries, when you can hear that little, you know, bell go off now, boom, you're going to be right there.
Yeah.
And that benefit. So how to use your intuition and how to use your fire to be ready, but not blow it up, not create a storm when nothing's happening.
No, because I have a Pisces rising, I tend to get, after I cause a storm, I see my Aries being blown up. People still tell me, but you're so sweet, you don't cause trouble. And I'm like, did you see that? That was my Aries side. But that, you know, a Pisces rising can cover a lot, and people think, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Pisces is able to become whatever it needs to become at that moment, you know, because sometimes it's like, it's, you know, you could be having a whole episode with kids or husband or different things, and then walk into another room, and I'll walk in here. It's like, hi, I'm really this person right now. I'm not this person, but I was a different person just a few minutes ago, because, you know, I'm transferring energy and I'm now blending into this. And I think, gosh, is that normal? You know, people do that, but to do this kind of work, you have to be able to change, shape shift when necessary.
But the Pisces moon, I find it like a hidden superpower. It's like I see it like enormous. It can expand so much, so it can understand and take in so much.
You know, and the more I understand it, and the more I embrace it, and the more I, like I said, really learn about it, because even though I've had this raw energy, I call it like raw energy, I never really mastered it or really understood the power I had. So, you know, I call it kind of like a tidal wave. When I do put my focus on something, when I do manifest something, when I do put all of myself into it, I am like a tidal wave. And the moon in Pisces just can create this energy. But I mean, you have to want it. You have to believe it. It has to be, you know, from above, from heaven above, that was given to you, this calling. And when you get it, you know, that's a powerful energy. The problem is, you know, when a tidal wave lands, I mean, whatever happens, happens. You have no control over it at that point. So I've had to learn to, you know, try to be more considerate of these. When I do want to do something or manifest something, consider the cost a little bit more of who's involved and who I'm including in my tidal wave, and how it might affect people, because once it happens, it's going to happen. And if it takes me 7 years, 10 years, because Pisces will see things often 7 to 10 years before they happen, and will begin building this wave for years. And when it peaks, it can be exciting. It can be exciting. And I think, You
But
know,
that,
I don't know. That sounded really Piscean right there.
no, it sounded Piscean, but this is how people that are into the law of attraction describe the law of attraction as well. I think, and I think Pisces is a good sign because what they tell you in order to attract what you want is to relax and let go. What Pisces is letting go, you know, so let go of the ego and think of what you want, but not in the Aries way, like I will get it, because in that state you can go for it and you'll make some steps towards it, but it won't come towards you as when you are like, you set it in motion and then you know it will come, so you have that trust. I think I see it as a magical moon. I don't know why.
It is very magical. I have to tell you, I have lived a very magical life. Everything that I've done has been a very magical life, and it's always required me. There's been one requirement to honor my moon in Pisces, and that basically is in each pivotal moment, I had to step out in faith. I had to step out. There always was a faith element that no matter what you can do, no matter how you get your ducks in a row, there's always this critical moment before I jump off a cliff that is of I have to have faith. There's an element that I have to commit to not controlling.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
That's the secret.
Yes, that's scary. People have told me, I don't know how you live. I could never live the life you live because you jump off mountains and cliffs. And now I'm getting a little older, so my cliff jumping is a little closer to the ground. But on the harder side of it, because I do have Moon and Pisces in my 12th house, and especially as we went through the last few years with the Scorpio energy and this Neptune and Pisces, I am getting to the point where now I am seeing into things or people or situations, and I have to be careful because people aren't always ready to accept or even, you know, and I have to learn sometimes not to allow myself to look with relationships. Those have been harder for me, and I'm probably a little bit more, I don't want to use the word isolated in a bad way, but I've had to be a lot more protective of my energetic connections because they affect me much more now. So, yeah. And then at the same time, it's kind of the cost of quote unquote doing business, meaning if I want to be a spiritual intuitive, if I want to write books, if I want to be artistic and creative, I have to protect like crazy this side of me now. And sometimes it can be isolating. It can be isolating. You have to you get more comfortable not being under everybody else's influence because you see too much. You already know what they're thinking. You're reading everybody's mail. And it's like, oh, stop.
Yeah. But that's the fascinating. I have the Sun 12th house Pisces. So it's more for me, the physical world affects me more. So I need to, I don't realize it because my Aries keeps on going, but I need to block it out. I need people like really sucking my energy. So I give energy to the people around me all the time. It's like, oh, for you. But weirdly enough, with Pisces, I think you probably tap into the with Moon in Pisces, into the consciousness of everyone. I'm fascinated, you know, like Michael Jackson, Elvis, Prince, etc. It's impossible that the greatest artist had Moon in Pisces. It's like they feel and feels, and then they just put it out there.
Yeah. But you know, if you look at their life, there's one similarity in all three of them, and I actually can relate to this when I started studying it. They all three had a magical sanctuary that they could be recluse at, so to speak. You know, Michael Jackson had Never Never Land, and Prince had, what he had, I'm trying to think of what he called that. You guys know, I'm sorry, I just drew a blank. But Prince had his own little private sanctuary.
Graceland and Neverland,
And they all had their sanctuary that was this magical place they could go to. And I live out here in California on a horse ranch I've been creating my little magical world for the last 17 years that I have to be on. And I've had many times that I've almost lost that and like lost my soul if I don't have it. This private world where I can dream and imagine. I love people. I love to go out. I'm Mars and Leo, so I love to go to a party. I love to go have fun, but I have to have that. And so did they. And I think it's sad because I think the way that celebrity was for them, even Whitney Houston had a Pisces rising. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I think that makes them so relatable, probably.
I was thinking, huh?
I think that makes them so relatable. I think this is why everyone loved them, because it's like they feel you feel. Yeah.
You go into people's souls, listen to the words of their lyrics, and we draw people in, because if I allow myself, and somebody comes to me and I allow myself to open up, I can see the best in you. The unconditional best in you. I can see visions. I can see what you can do, how you can do it. Most people don't believe in themselves. I don't even know that I believe in myself as much as I can believe in you. Yeah. I mean, but how overwhelming to be sitting with someone and all of a sudden having them like a tidal wave pouring onto you the potential of what life could be or what could it be. And every one of those artists gave us a taste of this magical world that life could be.
Yeah.
But the price to pay for that was they got so saturated in the negative energies that come in and the pressures that come in and the deceptions that come in. Pisces moon is a gentle soul.
Yeah.
They're not competitive. They don't care about money. And I think, for those generation of people, and why you're so susceptible to using medication or something, it's constantly trying to tone down this high vibration because it's too much sometimes. When you are around that much pressure, they couldn't handle.
I totally understand. With all my Pisces energy, I totally understand. My husband, who is very intuitive as well with a Cancer moon, so there is sensitivity there. But he realized over Christmas when we were meeting with family, he was like, you're one of those little fish that cleans the water around it. I'm like, do you feel well? Do you feel well? Does everyone feel well?
Let me get your pillow. Let me rub your feet.
And yeah, definitely Pisces sun and rising feels like this, like, okay, I'm giving you now my energy so you feel better now someone else needs me. But when you keep on giving like that, you cannot take care of yourself as well. And it seems like for me this is what happened with them. They got eaten up by their own giving and their own.
Absolutely And the high vibrational constant pressure, like I said, and then being in the entertainment world and having access to being able to, escape. It's fine. It's learning that you need to escape. See, escape is considered such a bad word. No, escaping for Pisces is really healthy. It's part of their ability to reboot. And the problem is we want to make sure everybody else is okay. But unfortunately, we don't do really very well for anybody else trying to make us feel okay, even if we play the martyr, nobody cares kind of thing. No, we're the only ones who can go swim off and really reboot ourselves during that time. So we cannot, if we give up a healthy way of doing that, or we don't allow ourselves to go walk down the beach or go ride a horse or go out in nature, go sit under the stars, if we don't allow ourselves to go read a book under a tree, go take a drive with the music blasting, if we don't allow ourselves to do those things, we will fall victim to quick ways of escape that are easier. So yeah, it's very difficult to do that. Yeah,
but I think it's somehow good to not have boundaries because you understand everyone. And I think this is what, going back to what we're living now, everyone is building boundaries now with all this Aries energy. It's like, here are my boundaries, you'll not pass, and here are mine. And so on spikes of boundaries from everyone. And I think now a Pisces lesson, and maybe this is helpful what we're discussing, it's good, like, let go of the boundaries. We're all the same in essence. Just have 2 minutes with yourself, relax. No one will take anything from you. You just need to feel how connected you are to the other people, and then the ego and the hate cannot live there. But yeah, so I have both me, and sometimes it's good to be Aries, because you're like, you stepped on my feet again, and now I'm going to show you.
You know what? I absolutely admire the Aries. I have a Saturn North Node in Aries in my first house. And so, you know, my North Node started kicking in really, you know, over the last 10, 15 years. It usually starts happening after your first Saturn. But, you know, I have a lot of Libra energy with Mercury, Venus, and my South Node there. So here we have, and I'm sharing this to even go to what the storylines playing out now with Jupiter and Libra, Uranus and Aries.
Yeah,
okay, and that is what it's all about. It's the codependent. It's the person, you know, the Libra energy often, they don't want to say no, so they'll say yes, and then they'll be manipulative and disappear because they don't want the confrontation of not really standing up for what they know they should have done. So they'll lie, make excuses, get out of it any way they can, just so they don't have to face it.
Yeah.
And when I started moving into this North Node in Aries energy, it was all about, you know what, you need to claim your identity, quit giving it away to everybody. You keep giving everything away. And with Saturn there, it really was my lifelong lesson of being comfortable with my own identity.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably worked on it for a long time now, and now probably you're at the peak of together with everyone else. It's not
get on or get off or get out of my way. You know, all of a sudden I will see this is having all this Aries energy right now, these things that keep coming out of my mouth. And I've been cussing off a lot too lately. Just doing. I'm like, I feel like an Aries sailor right now. It's so fun.
The good thing about Aries is that integrity that I was talking in the beginning. So Aries doesn't hide anything or lie anything, and that's what everyone is doing now. No, this is me. This has always been me, and now I'm going to violently let it out. And on the one hand, it's empowering because now finally someone understands. Okay, I have the power within me. I'm not under someone else's power and influence over me. So for the first time, I think we're all feeling this. It's just so many people rising to power at the same time.
Yes. Well, and you know what? I think that's why I wanted to do this today. And I think it's those of us who basically, I consider astrology kind of like learning a language. If you're going to go learn sign language or speak a new language, it's learning this language. It's the language of your soul. It's the language of the earth. It's had such a bad reputation because it was so misunderstood. We were all afraid of it, but really, I started using astrology with my animals before I even did really with humans. I started using it with breeding and when the best time to breed and the best time to plant. And it just began. Then I started noticing different, you know, or the same people coming in my life with the same birthday or the same patterns. And I started for the first time seeing the patterns, like they were just coming out everywhere. And I said, I have to know more. There's something about this. And I believe it's just this beautiful universal language that we can all speak. We can all speak the same language, okay? And like you said, don't get stuck in your chart. This is just a map. It's a guideline. You got to grow through it. The universe invites us all to rise above these things, you know. And we all have some things in our chart that we go, oh my gosh, when we read about it. But you know what? I'm more determined than ever to figure out how to open that door and how to open that house and open the windows and, you know, put a plant in it. You know, how do we activate this and not be imprisoned by it? And also why I'm very careful about even getting readings or who I have a reading with, that I know it's going to be somebody that genuinely understands that. Because unfortunately, somebody can say something to you if you're throwing your chart out online and, you know, what does everybody think? And we've all done that. There was a time period everybody was doing that. I have to even be careful of that, because you don't know who's going to speak a word, and it could be not from the right spirit. It could not have ethics. It could change your life. It could paralyze you. I don't throw my charts and my stuff out there. If anybody wants to know, they're welcome to look, because I don't have anything to hide. But, you know, I'm not just going to allow anybody to speak any word over me unless I've built some trust and see that they have integrity. And I think we should all be looking at that now. As this spiritual community is growing like crazy, you really need to pay attention to the astrologers that are, you know, really putting the time in and that you really resonate with, which is why I love your channel, because I see you as being just, you're right there. You're right there. You have such an old soul and you're such a warrior. Aries is the life coach. Aries is the life coach.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're out there doing it. I mean, it's impressive.
Well, what I think we should all do now, I think we learn from each other, but in the end, everyone should be able to read their own chart and their own destiny. I think this is where we're heading towards. This is the Aquarius thing. Like, I'm not your guru anymore. I'm not your Pisces guru.
Yes. Yes.
Pisces, which I love, with Aries moon. So I'm not your guru, but you are your own guru. So I think this teaching astrology like you did for some time now, and inspiring other people like me to start also speaking out there, that's the way to go, because everyone gets their own voice and gets their own interpretation.
Well, think about it like this. All of these people that we're watching out there on TV and on the internet, and all of these people that are really struggling and in this lost condition, it's like they're going to be filtering down. We don't have to compete, because there's going to be more than enough fish for everybody coming through. Yeah. And we as a community need to support each other, inspire each other. I'm so excited to see what some of the astrologers are doing and books they're writing, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're opening the door and we're all going to get to go through it. And you guys coming up, I'm like, come on, get up here, because there's so many people that are going to need to understand this language. I so agree with you. And that's why, just to put a little plug in there, I just started an online subscription page, kind of a members only thing, but it is all on teaching astrology. I want to teach people how to learn for themselves, because if you get too hooked on one person and they fall off the face of the earth, or they have a crisis, you should not be left sitting there feeling like you can't function without anybody. Yeah. You have to have your own, and then people can add to what you already have. And I think that's what we're here to teach. That's what we're here to do. That's the calling of the future.
And when you share like you do, really, I'm really interested. So put a link to that also below. When you share like you do, you don't get any less, knowledge. You grow, but everyone grows with you. So you get a lot more people, teaching a lot more people. And I think, to the point that we need to educate everyone, astrology is one of the ways where I hope that really this whole network really helps people. So I'm so grateful talking about the law of astrology, because I wanted to talk about this subject yesterday. I wanted to make a video about, again, about the law of attraction and age of Aquarius, and talking exactly this, that we need to recondition our mind and know that our thoughts are there to work for us. And know that we have some power within us that's now getting into us, and be proud of it. And the shaky times are actually a good sign that we're getting power into us. And you coming to me, that's another sign for me of this.
Yes, well, I just felt my intuition. Then when I saw your chart, it was your Mars return, and you and I have kind of this North Node Aries thing going on. I thought, you know, I went by my instinct, and I thought, well, she's going to be spontaneous. She has all that Aries. She'll jump right on it. I didn't know we just did it today. We talked today, and now we're doing it. That's how spontaneous we were. But I wanted to get behind you, and you know, have people get behind all of us that have been out here, just again, so that there's a place we all can go when the world gets crazy and everything's falling apart. We have this ability to kind of, all right, guys, let's get on board. Let's swim through this together. We're going to get through this. And I know it's what's getting me through it. So
yeah. And yeah, exactly. It gets us through it, and it makes us understand why it's happening and see the good in what is happening. I think that's the lesson of.
Yes. Well, and I don't share everything. I've probably shared a lot of different things about my life, and I'm sure I'll continue to as they apply. But you know, we're going through this stuff behind the scenes with everybody else, internally and emotionally and in other situations. So I don't come out here and act like I've risen above it all and I know astrology to the point where I ride on this high wave. I wish I could say that.
No.
But, you know, that little faith thing that I have to always go through requires me to swim down to the bottom and literally feel, this is probably Moon in Pisces, feel the temperature of the earth, of the vibration of the collective. I have to, it's a high calling to feel so much.
Yeah. I feel so much, but I know what the Moon in Pisces feels these days.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll trade you my Moon in Pisces for your Moon in Aries for a day.
Well, it's pretty good. Like, you just train or go running, and then it will be okay.
All of my kids have a lot of Aries, so I'm so used to it. And I'm jealous. I'm just genuinely jealous because they just bounce back, and they're on to the next thing and the next adventure and the next situation. I'm still recovering from the last 3, you know, and they're like, boom. I'm grateful for it because it keeps me out of myself. I have to keep up with all of you guys. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much. I think we did really good. We definitely had the Pisces vibe going. You guys all have to hear about the Pisces thing on this channel. That's just the way it is. But we're just, you know, understanding all of the signs. And, you know, just realizing this North Node in Leo, you guys get ready because people now, if you've claimed your identity, now's the time to put a crown on it and brand it. You know what I mean? Put a brand, or if you're a cowboy, put a brand on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And be proud of it. Be proud of it. So.
Yeah, it's a very empowering year, actually. Yeah, when you're talking about it, it's a lot of empowerment for everyone.
Yes. Well, as a Virgo, I have to admit the North Node in Virgo was very long and enduring. So I'm ready for a little Leo. I might not be saying that in a year from now, but right now I'm ready for a little fun in the sun. So we'll see what happens.
It's 12th house for both of us. We'll see. I mean, from the sun. But
yes. So. Well, thank you so much, Anna, and I'm going to be putting her link below to check out her channel and her Facebook page and her new video, and just another great YouTube astrologer up and coming. By the way, when did you start your channel? I was going to ask you that.
Well, I posted a video, I think a year and maybe 2 years ago, my one video, and then in October I started, okay, I need to change my life, all these things happening, And yeah, and I'm shifting from my corporate job to astrology. Let's see how that goes. So yeah, practically October is when I kind of started.
Well, very good, very good. Well, you must have hit a good time to start, because you're getting a lot of energy and people really like you, and we need you. We need the front lines. We need that life coach, and you're very, very insightful. You've got that old soul quality and that intuitive side. You know what's going on.
Thanks so much.
Oh,
Thank you so much for
welcome.
inviting me. And yeah, it was great, and great talking to you. I think we have something definitely going.
We'll definitely do this again. And oh yeah, people are actually, see, we've gotten in this whole conversation. It's like, for you guys out there, please comment below. And if you have any questions or any thoughts, we want to really include you and hear from you guys. And like I said, go over and subscribe, and
yeah, and what are you guys feeling right now? That's what I want to hear from everyone, because you probably know it with your Pisces moon. What's everyone feeling? Like, can you feel the positive in the turmoil? So yeah, that's
yeah. And what kind of videos do you guys want to hear right now? Tell us, because we're kind of trying to keep up with what is needed to keep us focused and on this path of sanity together. Tell us what you want to hear about. Tell us what your interests are. For all of the YouTube astrologers, you know, what do you want to hear from us? What do you want? What would be helpful? We'd like to know. And again, if you haven't checked out my website and would like to take, you know, a class, monthly classes, very, very reasonable to jump in on the page at any time, please come over, because that helps support keeping this channel going. So I appreciate that.
Oh, I might do that. So
all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Aries Moon Girl. You guys keep an eye on her. She's up and rising. So we'll be watching. And thank you again for jumping in with me today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.